The plugin in this video is one example of why I basically never do first impression type of videos. Because I must admit, when I first saw the Mixland 280 I thought, another saturation plugin? Yeah, it's coded by Kive, and that's basically a guarantee it will work and sound good, but you know, this is saturation plugin number 50,000. But the more I played with it, the more I actually started to like this one, and there's one hidden gem. First, what is the Mixland 280? It's an emulation of the Germanium preamp found in a rare USA-made tape machine and beloved for its standalone use. I'd say it's from a Scully tape machine. This preamp does what any good preamp can do. It sort of premixes your audio when you push into saturation. The dynamics get reduced to an extent which gives you a more even performance. Don't push too far if you want just the leveling, because then you get distortion. Not that this is bad by any means, you can even do double stack, where you get twice the saturation and distortion. It is a pretty nice sounding distortion at that. Now when you combine this with the filters, you can easily get a proper distorted vocal, which you then can mix in with the dry original audio for all sorts of blends.
And then suddenly you ask how long I'm staying. I don't know if I should go about my heading. And then suddenly you take a hold of me. I just hope to go down.
Now if you like this breakdown so far, and before we get into what is the little gem in the Mixland 280, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little like button. There are two dials tucked away here on top. The first is drift. This one introduces slight variations in the sound, but the second one is the hidden gem in this plugin. It's the H dial. The H control adds vintage character by subtly altering harmonics and progressively degrading high-frequency response, replicating the sound of H components. At least that is what the press release mentioned. What I found is that it does this. It adds a ton of harmonics, it reduces high ends for sure, it adds grit and a sort of broken components vibe, and it makes the audio mono. And it adds one very typical thing, a ton of attack. This behavior is especially sweet on snare drum. It increases the attack a lot and it adds a huge snap. Listen to this snare. When I dial in the H, the sound gets darker again, but also it sounds like there's a sort of sustained reduction happening. Now when I bring back the last high frequencies, you get this. An enormous snap on the snare. It really brings out the attack while the sustain and ring is basically gone. With double the stack it also works. Combine this with a limiter to counter these huge spikes and you get a sort of gated, attacky snare. Now with the H dial completely up to get this large extra attack, this is ideal to blend in with the dry signal. It will add a lot of body and punch to this same snare. But you always will need some form of extra limiting after to keep the spikes under control. A simple built-in limiter in this plugin would have been sweet. The plugin uses 2 to 3% in normal use with no latency. When you enable oversampling, the usage goes up to 30% at 16-time oversampling on my test machine, with a latency of 0.9 of a millisecond. You do want to use oversampling when you use this plugin. It cleans up aliasing nicely. Now to be fair, if you just need saturation, there are a ton of other plugins which can do that just perfectly fine. The attack this plugin can give though is kind of special and unexpected. The whole H dial is a little gem for sure, and I think that will be the main reason why you want to check out the Mixland 280 to find out if it fits in your audio toolshed.